You can quickly gain the basic concept of an open, relaxed breath by using the words how to. The first step to an open breath is to have good posture with your torso upright and tall. Say the word how silently, which will open the throat and allow a more silent, deep breath that extends down to the abdomen. Your abdomen should move out without the shoulders rising.
For the exhalation, say the word to. Think of blowing out candles on a birthday cake. The air should rush out in a steady flow while maintaining that same open throat feeling as with your inhalation. Notice how the inhalation flows directly into the exhalation. There is no middle step of holding the air back. Try to make this type of breathing a part of your everyday practice.
Most problems on the trumpet can be traced back to improper air usage. A great breathing exercise is to put a piece of paper on a music stand and angle it slightly away from you. Take one step back. With a full breath, focus your air and try to blow the paper off the stand. Once you can do that easily, take another small step back and try it again. You will need to move a good volume of air as well as focus the stream to blow the paper off at greater distances.
Another great way to practice moving lots of air is to use a plastic tube. A tube with a diameter of between 3/4 and 1 1/2 inches is best. Or you can simply roll up a piece of paper if you don't have a plastic tube available. Exercises you can try with the tube or the paper might go something like this. Place the tube between your teeth, then take 5 relaxed inhales and exhales without any break. Now, take an additional 5 inhales and exhales without that tube, but add the to syllable to the exhalations. Now, immediately play a relaxed note on the trumpet. The object is to transfer the feeling of the tube breathing to the trumpet. It's very, very important to do this exercise from tube to trumpet without any break, so your body can immediately replicate the sensation before your mind can incorporate bad habits and tension.
Some problems you should be aware of include breathing from the chest instead of the abdomen, the shoulders rising towards the ears due to tension, and the sound of a hiss, which means your throat has become closed or become more tight.
Now that our breathing is efficient and relaxed, it's time to put the mouthpiece on the embouchure. The embouchure is the placement of the lips, facial muscles, and jaw while playing the trumpet. A good embouchure, when combined with proper air usage, allows a player to develop and maintain good tone quality, range, flexibility, and endurance.
Although embouchures will vary slightly from player to player, a good embouchure generally exhibits the same fundamental characteristics. The lips should be slightly rolled in, the corners firm, the muscles of the chin pulled down to form a U. Don't push your lips together at the aperture. Instead, feel as though you are holding them apart. You can simulate the feeling by placing a small straw between your teeth, as described in the segment How to Start a Beginner.
Now, let's place the mouthpiece on the embouchure. You can use a mirror to check your mouthpiece placement. The placement should be as symmetrical as possible. I mean, centered left to right and top to bottom. This is the suggested placement, but different players will vary slightly based on lip shape and dental formation. As a general rule, drastic non-symmetrical placements should be avoided. The embouchure and mouthpiece should be wet for most players, just enough moisture so it doesn't stick. Minimize your mouthpiece pressure, just make a good seal. With the lips on an even plane with the teeth, you should be able to see 4 quadrants of red. No lip is overlapping one another, the teeth are slightly apart, and the aperture is in line with the space between the teeth. This will result in the trumpet having a somewhat downward angle while you play.
Finally, we're ready to make a sound on the mouthpiece. Too often, players try to buzz on their mouthpiece rather than have it happen naturally. To find the correct balance between aperture focus and volume of air, try this exercise. After breathing in, form your embouchure just as you begin to blow. Rather than trying to buzz, start with a wide aperture so only air is heard. Gradually focus the airstream while continuing to blow fully. A buzz will happen naturally as a result of the balance between airflow and focus. Once buzzing occurs, it is important to learn to focus that vibration into the most efficient and concentrated sound possible. Making the aperture too small will reduce the air volume, dampen the lip vibration, and produce an overly pinched sound. A perfect aperture size, with good balance of lip tension and air pressure, produces an ideal sound.
An ideal sound can only be produced with that full open breath we practiced earlier.
And again, the embouchure is unique to each individual. Try to incorporate some of the basic concepts we've given you as guidelines. What matters is the sound, not the look.
It's important to get off to the right start when learning to play the trumpet, so we're going to demonstrate a surefire method that ensures a proper, natural embouchure for all students. It's important to spend plenty of time with this starter method so that the creation of the buzz is truly a result of this blowing exercise. Begin by having the students place a small straw in between their front teeth. Be sure that the straw is parallel to the ground. Begin blowing air through the straw for 4 counts. You can use this time to teach basic counting concepts. Blow a whole note, then half notes, then quarter notes. Stay focused on the straw being straight out and just blowing air for a couple of days. Now comes the fun part. Gently slide the mouthpiece over the straw and continue the same simple blowing exercises. Take plenty of time to get comfortable again with the added mouthpiece. Remember to simply breathe and blow through the straw. After the students are comfortable with blowing whole notes and half notes, it's time to make some sound. Gently remove the straw while they are blowing a whole note. The removal of the plastic from between their lips will allow the lips to vibrate naturally. The space left by the straw creates a perfect aperture and good jaw alignment. If no buzz occurs, ensure that the student is continuing to blow with a very full airstream. At this point, they should be making a good buzz on the mouthpiece. Continue only on the mouthpiece for another class, again using this time to teach basic counting concepts. Now we're ready to add the horn. Sit in a straight back chair with no arms, holding the horn in your left hand. Gently place the mouthpiece in the receiver with a slight turn to the right. Never bang it in. Your left hand should grasp around the valves, and your right hand should form a C with your fingertips over the valves. Your arms should be out from your sides and holding the trumpet in a relaxed fashion. With the fundamentals in place, you should be ready to have fun learning to play the trumpet.
Articulating clearly is one of the basic requirements for a trumpet player. Remember that good articulation serves the sound. Always listen for a good sound following your articulation.
Good tonguing comes from the combination of solid airflow, the tongue, and the use of firm fingers. You might find it interesting to note that the first thing I mentioned was a solid airflow. When you forget to keep the airflow strong throughout your articulation, the sound begins to suffer. Here's an example of poor tonguing followed by good tonguing.
tongue's role is to act as a valve. Its only job is to create an interruption in the airstream, which we hear as the articulation. Aim for a combination of quick tongue movement and steady airflow to avoid sluggish articulation.
Too many times, we trumpet players forget the importance of pressing the valves down firmly as we play. No matter how well your air and tongue are working, if you add lazy fingers, the resulting sound will be less than desirable. Listen as a portion of this scale is performed first using lazy and then firm fingers.
Since all notes are not meant to be produced in the same manner, try starting notes with a variety of syllables. That will allow you to present your music in many different ways. Most trumpet players find 2 as a good reference point to begin with. As you get better at tonguing, experiment with using a variety of syllables. To, ta, do, da, and do are all used by trumpet players in different musical situations.
You should also experiment with using different degrees of intensity. Some notes in music are meant to be presented with incredible authority, while others should sound as if they came out of nowhere. Practice a wide range so you'll be ready for any situation.
The first exercises we suggest you play involve only the mouthpiece. Start by tonguing a few isolated pitches in your middle range. To make sure you're playing in tune, try this at a piano or with another trumpet player. Remember to listen to the sound after the articulation. Once you're comfortable with isolated pitches, try re-articulating on the same pitch. For your tonguing to sound easy and smooth, you must project your airflow through each articulation. Don't back away as you tongue each note.
We find scales to be a great tool for articulation practice. Play any major or minor scale in whatever rhythmic pattern you want. Listen for crisp, clean articulations followed by a full sound. Herbert L. Clark's Technical Studies for the Cornet is a book we highly recommend. The exercises in it can be used to work on many areas of your playing. Choose any of the first 3 studies, slurring them the first time and articulating the second. Your airflow should be the same, whether you're slurring or tonguing.
Arbon's is another method book every trumpet player should own. In regards to tonguing, the exercises on pages 17 through 22 and 28 through 36 are extremely helpful. A good practice method for these is to alternate between slurring and tonguing each phrase, which will remind you to keep the air full as you articulate. On page 125 of the Arbon book, you can find interval studies. These add larger leaps into your articulation practice. Concentrate on blowing through the center of your trumpet and not trying to physically position each note. Listen for the same quality of sound and articulation on every note as you play through the exercise.